Our newly established Leo Club's main aim is to serve the Nepali community, especially the youth. For this reason, we chose to discuss mental health, a topic that is rarely spoken about, yet affects so many individuals. In our talk today, we will be discussing what mental health is, some misconceptions, how community can affect mental health, and how we can foster better communication between parents and kids. We want to reduce the stigma and lack of dialogue between the older and younger generation when it comes to managing mental health. Now, I know that many parents may just be unaware of how youth our age view mental health. So we conducted an online survey to collect data from Nepali youth living in Connecticut. And this was done through SNA, NSA from UConn. So we have a lot of participants from UConn, as well as NACON right here in West Hartford. So I will be sharing the results from the survey right now as we should switch over to a quick presentation. Okay. So like I mentioned, we sent out an online survey that consisted of 8 multiple choice questions and 2 open-ended questions. And this was given to the general Nepali youth public. So these are the results. We had a total of 34 participants, 19 were female, 15 were male. So it was pretty much even when it came to gender. And we had the majority of participants identify as heterosexual. So I'll be going through the questions one by one, the questions that we asked. So the first question we asked was a general question: how important is mental health to you? And we had the majority of participants answer that it was extremely important, or moderately important. Only one person said that it was unimportant. So as we can see, the majority of kids, go back so. Majority of kids believe that mental health is important. The second question was overall, how would you rate your mental health at this moment? And we had a good response. We had majority of people said very good or good. Our third question was, how often do you reach out to your family? And this relates to just parents, aunts, uncles, so people who would have more guardian figures to discuss their mental health. And we had a majority of participants say that they only sometimes, rarely, or never reach out to their family to discuss mental health. So as you can see from the questions before, we saw that most kids believe that mental health is important, yet the majority of kids don't feel comfortable enough to reach out to their family. So then we asked question 4, how often, who do you reach out to discuss your mental health? And so we had 85% of participants reach out to their friends, and then the second highest, 44% of people reach out to their siblings or cousins, so people that are in their same age group, and only 23% reach out to their parents. So then we had question 5, how strongly would you rate this following statement? And the statement is, there is a stigma against talking about mental health issues in our community. And we had the overwhelming majority, I think it was around 80%, said that they strongly agree, and we had the second highest was that they do agree. So majority of kids our age right now do believe that there is a stigma against talking about mental health issues in our community. The next question we asked, following up on the previous question, was, when did you first notice a stigma associated to mental health? And so if we look at the responses, we had most people saw it starting in middle school, early high school, and late high school. And so this is probably around the time where there's more academic pressure. And so we see a correlation between a stigma with mental health and academic pressure. The next question was to rate the following statement, that our community should talk about mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, trauma, etc. more openly. And we had a huge majority said that they strongly agree or they just agree. And then we asked, have you ever seen a mental health specialist yourself? And so we had a majority of students that said that they have not seen a mental health specialist. But interestingly, we had a good portion of people say that they haven't, but that they would like to. And then, so we can go forward. So then we had 2 open-ended questions at the end. The first open-ended question we asked was, is there anything you would like to share about your experience in our community? We had people fill out responses, and so I'll be saying some of the responses that we got through our survey. So the first one says, I wish talking about your mental health wasn't a taboo topic and there wasn't a negative connotation towards it. I remember when I first told my parents about mental health, they told me I was making things up in my head and I was actually fine. They have brushed the topic since then. It's been 4 years now. Next one says, my parents always seem to compare me to other Nepali kids who are doing phenomenally well. I also just moved to the US in the middle of 5th grade, and it was really hard to make friends during this time. Just the combination of these two issues really took a toll on me during the time. I think even if there was some sort of resource available to me at the time, I probably still wouldn't make use of it due to the stigmas associated with mental health, especially with the Nepali community. And so in this response, we see sort of this theme that there's an additional pressure of adjusting to coming to the US, which we'll be discussing later as well in our seminar. Next we have, Nepali society tends to sweep unattractive issues such as mental health under the rug because it's uncomfortable to talk about. However, sweeping it under the rug doesn't make the issue go away. Nepali youth will suffer short-term as well as long-term if we are not able to help them manage it. And I think we have one more. I wish we were able to speak about mental health more freely in our community. I feel like there's so much shame attached to it. So these are just some responses that kids, so this could be your kid, this could be someone that you know, kids our age are saying about mental health in our community. Okay, and so we have one final question is, what stigma would you want to remove or change from our community regarding mental health? And so these were some of the responses. One says, definitely would want to remove the stigma where Nepali people seem to think that people with mental health issues are weak. Next one says that having mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and stress make a person weaker, less capable, or abnormal. Why do we see people who are depressed as something shameful? We have, I would like it if Nepali youth were able to be more open about their thoughts and emotions with their parents without being afraid of the possibility of being victim blamed. The stigma on asking for help. We never ask for help in the Nepali community because we're afraid to look like we don't have everything together. And then I think one more we have, that Nepali kids can get thrown into the rat race early on, with their parents wanting their child to be the best, the smartest, and the most successful. From that, a lot of us will lose a true meaning of who we are, and it will take a toll on our mental health. So overall on this survey, and this is a survey that is done from our community, so these are all kids that we know that were answering the survey, we can see that there's a definite issue in how we as a community approach and address mental health. A majority of kids feel that mental health is a priority, yet they don't feel comfortable reaching out to their parents.